manhunt for a fugitive father and daughter wanted for murder and armed robbery, where police think they might be hiding out tonight.
People are Googling DACA and 7-Eleven to get the latest on a controversial immigration ruling and raid. Tonight, we're laying out the facts and what it means to Georgia.
It was a botched call that cost Peach County a state high school football championship. Could replay be on the horizon? Could it become a reality in 2018? Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Hullinger, and right now, DeKalb County Police are on the hunt for a father and daughter on the run. Their alleged crimes ranging from killing a baby to armed robbery. And tonight, police are desperate to finally bring this violent crime spree to an end. Faith Abube is following the manhunt. And Faith, these crimes happened a while back. Why are they now asking for help?
Well, Jeff, police tell us that local agencies spent 4 months searching for Estefania Roman Aguilar and her father, Jose Hilario Gomez, but they just couldn't get anywhere. U.S. Marshals took over the case, but they ran into roadblocks as well. So now they're putting an alert out to the public. Take a look. Brookhaven police believe the father and daughter could be anywhere between here in Georgia and maybe even cross state lines into Florida, North Carolina, or even South Carolina.
They have found and spoke with several family members during their hunt, and we're now reaching out to the public, hoping that someone will have information on where they are at.
Faith, what are the details about what happened here?
Well, we know so far that police say the 19-year-old daughter killed her own baby back in September of last year by suffocating that 5-month-old. Officers didn't have a lot of details at the time to go on, so they arrested her at the time for cruelty to children. She bonded out of jail, and when investigators got the evidence that they needed to arrest her and upgraded her to murder charges, she was gone. Well, they think she's now with her father, 40-year-old Jose Hilario Gomez. He's wanted for an unrelated crime. Police tell us he went to his ex-wife's house with a knife. This was back in 2015. He allegedly threatened and beat her before taking money from her wallet. And again, tonight, both are on the run, possibly together. So if you can help police, there's a $2,000 reward up for grabs.
Faith, thank you. Now, another story topping social media tonight. A Georgia teenager accused of killing her own grandfather. Today, a judge denied bond for 19-year-old Savannah Jennings, who shared her grandfather's Elbert County home. She and 19-year-old William Peterson are facing murder charges in the death of 86-year-old Otha Perrin. 18-year-old Dakota Street is accused of concealing his death. Investigators say that Jennings reported her grandfather missing on Sunday, but on Monday, a different family member told authorities something wasn't right about Perrin's disappearance. Jennings eventually admitted she had lied. Perrin's body was pulled from a pond on Monday. A .22 caliber rifle was found nearby. The Elbert County Sheriff's Office says Perrin was shot several times. Tonight, we're tracking a spike in people Googling DACA and 7-Eleven as they try to find out more about a controversial immigration ruling and a series of raids carried out by ICE. The terms among the hottest searches in Georgia right now? Well, Chris Hopper is in our newsroom. He's breaking down the headlines and why these stories could be a very big deal for our state.
Well, Jeff, it's clear people want to know what happened inside of these 7-Elevens across the country. That's why we're talking about it here tonight, despite the fact that there's not a store in the state of Georgia.
As a matter of fact, the closest 7-Eleven is in Seneca, South Carolina, 114 miles from here. But that hasn't stopped people in Georgia from Googling it. Here's what happened. ICE says it served notices to 98 7-Eleven franchise stores across the country. 21 immigrants suspected of being here illegally were arrested. ICE says it's a follow-up to a 2013 investigation to make sure 7-Eleven is hiring legal workers. Now tonight, ICE Deputy Director Thomas Holman says businesses that hire illegal workers are a pull factor for illegal immigration, and we're working hard to remove this magnet. ICE will continue its efforts to protect jobs for American workers by eliminating unfair competitive advantages for companies that exploit illegal immigration. Could we see similar raids here in Georgia? It's unclear. But 2014 Pew Research numbers show there are 375,000 undocumented immigrants in Georgia. The American Immigration Council says in 2014, undocumented immigrants made up 5.2% of the state's workforce. Google Trends show people in Georgia also want to know more about DACA, an immigration policy affecting people who enter the country as minors. Tuesday night, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to revive part of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. Back in September, President Trump put a stop to that program. Tuesday night's change means people already covered under DACA can go ahead and submit their renewal applications. And remember, DACA participants are immigrants brought here illegally before their 16th birthday. There are more than 24,000 DACA participants in the state of Georgia. That's the 9th most nationally. Jessica Colodal, a Kennesaw State graduate and one-time poster child for President Obama's DREAM Act, weighed in on this latest change. She once lost her DACA status before it was reinstated.
It was definitely a small victory. We really need Congress to act on legislation so that we can have a permanent solution.
The DACA case will now work its way through the courts. Tonight, President Trump says he won't sign an immigration bill unless he gets something in return.
It's got to include the wall. We need the wall for security. We need the wall for safety. We need the wall for stopping the drugs from pouring in.
Chris, there has been a lot of talk about this wall, but there has not been a lot of progress, with the price tag, of course, being one of the biggest obstacles. What's the latest on the cost to build?
So, Jeff, we know that NBC News reported on Friday that the Department of Homeland Security is asking for $18 billion to complete it. The president keeps saying that somehow Mexico will pay for this wall, but for now, they're asking Congress for the money.
All right, we'll see what happens in all of that. One of the great questions in American life these days. Yeah. Chris, thank you.
Sure.
I'm Natisha Lance with tonight's other big headlines in your speed feed. We've just learned a woman whose body was found inside a Gwinnett County mall is Georgia State University student who had been missing since October. 19-year-old Cillian Mann was a sophomore majoring in psychology. Family reported her missing on October 8th, but she returned home shortly thereafter. When she disappeared again a few days later, no one reported it. On November 20th, Mann picked up a check from a Perimeter Mall store where she worked. On December 21st, her body was discovered in an abandoned Subway restaurant in the Gwinnett Place Mall. Police believe she died about 2 weeks earlier, but have not released a cause. The death toll in the catastrophic mudslides in Southern California has now reached 17, and more than a dozen people are still missing tonight. Santa Barbara County authorities say about 100 houses have been destroyed, another 300 damaged, and heavy rain sent rocks and mud flowing down wildfire-stripped hills.
Oh, God. So there used to be a fence right here. That's my neighbor's house, devastated.
Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, and other celebrities who live in the upscale Montecito community are sharing pictures and their social media pages and expressing their gratitude to rescue workers. A proposed new law would require Georgia drivers to use hands-free technology for their cell phones. The bill's creator, Representative John Carson of Marietta, says he was spurred to action by the alarming increase in traffic accidents and fatalities in the state. The bill would also increase Georgia's current distracted driving fines. So we're asking you, should using your cell phone while driving be illegal in Georgia? And right now, the majority of you say yes. Well, you can read more about the bill and cast your vote on 11 Alive on our Facebook page. And by the way, Jeff, 15 states plus Washington, D.C. already have a similar law that prohibits cell phone use by drivers.
Well, you have a lot of law enforcement people that certainly are in favor of it, but it's difficult to enforce. Yet at the same time, take a look at how many people, every time you're at a stop sign, a stop light, or both, and you see everybody's on a phone these days, and it makes you worry when somebody's trying to manipulate, maneuver, and navigate a 4,200-pound SUV that's coming your way. All right, Natisha, thank you. Activists demanding justice after an unarmed man is shot by Atlanta police. Did officers cross a line? Why a former officer says it is not so clear-cut.